I graduated with my doctorate degree in education leadership in 2010, December. And at that time, my real focus was to start something for my own child as a homeschool. And she was 4 years old. So I started developing something for her at home, like a curriculum that I could focus on both religion as well as the academic curriculum that happens in every public school. As I started that, I was new to the area. I moved to Delaware, and that's where my husband got a job, and so we just moved there, and I finished my doctorate. And when I started doing that, people got to know about it. You know, a Muslim female, she has the degree, she's doing this. So, and I got the homeschool registered and everything with the state of Delaware. And as you know, by word of mouth, it started spreading so much that by February, I had almost 35 students inside my house. And that was against the law, and I had to move out. So by July, you know, I found a place outside. So it was 2011, July, when I moved out. It was a close location. It was developed as a family institute where I moved out. So I then registered it as a private school, a full-time private school, an Islamic school that had both the religion as well as the academics. And we named it Tarbiyah. Tarbiyah in Arabic means going beyond the academics, involving the character, developing a whole child where the social aspect is important too. We don't leave that alone. So that was the core philosophy behind it, where religion is also an important part of a child's life. And when I did that, now I have approximately 150 students enrolled in my school. It's pre-K through 12 registered, and we have students in all grades right now. Some of the aspects, let me move on. So this is what I just told you, October 2010, that's when I really started the homeschooling part of it. The demographics right now is African Americans and Africans from Nigeria and other parts of the African countries is 40%, white is 15%. Arabs, by state standards, Arabs should be considered as white because that's how they categorize Arabs. But in our school, we usually separate them, that's 20%. Then we have Indian and Pakistani immigrants who are 25%. So as we started, the school started, we had a lot of different ethnicities inside our school, and it was, everybody has a different culture. Even though they're all Muslims, they all follow the same religion, but we had all these different kinds of cultures and ethnicities, and they're all bringing in their own ideologies, their own cultures, things that probably are not part of the religion itself. So it was kind of hard for me, for my teachers and my staff to develop things for them that would help them build up their character and the social aspect as well as go through academics. So the first challenge that we felt a lot as I go back and see that the Arabs are 20%. University of Delaware has, and that's the town that I live in, Newark, Delaware, has University of Delaware as the main university there. They have an exchange program with the Saudi government where they bring in students from Saudi Arabia. And they're very young couples who have very small children. And they have, so they come to Newark and to the University of Delaware to study the language, the English language, and then they either go back or they enroll in other universities for other degrees. And we have their children coming into us, and the most important barrier we face is the language issue. And I'm not an Arab, so I don't necessarily understand. My administrator is Arab, so she helps me translating things. We had to translate Title I programs, all the confidential family surveys, all kinds of forms. We had to translate them into Arabic. But the part where it comes into students and parents, it was a lot of frustration that was going on. I mean, they lack the English language, and most of my faculty is of course native from here, and so they cannot translate the language, and it was kind of becoming very, very hard. And when the child is frustrated, they try to show that anger on others, when others try to communicate with them and they're not able to get along. And that was one of the major reasons why I thought bullying was really affecting them, because they were becoming very aggressive. Or other students were becoming aggressive to them, calling them names, people who don't speak our language, and it was very, very hurtful to them. So either they used to lash out, or they just used to be silent and they used to tell their parents, we don't want to go to school. So that language was a big barrier towards their coming to school and towards socializing and mingling with and performing well on academics as well. So most of the comments that we used to hear were these students perform low on testing, and testing being such a big part of today's academics. They're performing low on scores. They're pulling your school down. Nobody wants to come in. And as a principal, I cannot do that. That's not part of social justice and just discriminating against certain ethnicities. So I still battle with that. I still have Title I, and we're still moving on. But with federal funds and everything getting cut, it's being very hard. So I usually have either parents come in, or we hired more Arabic teachers and translators who can help. Being inside the classroom, helping translate what the teacher is saying, and kind of moving on from there, because these children are not stupid. They are intelligent children, but they lack the vocabulary to get along. I mean, I have a sixth grader or a high schooler who can do very well in math or in English, but they don't have the vocabulary for it. So that kind of is a big challenge for them to face their students as well, to face their peers, or there's a lot of peer pressure that goes on due to that language barrier. Domestic violence is another big issue. Whatever the child sees at home is what they kind of internalize, and they become very, very aggressive. I mean, to the extent that I have a first grader who would actually want to kill another child. It's that bad. And when you look, you go back and you look at what kind of a family they're coming from, what's happening inside their house. It's those kinds of things that they are always, looking at, and that's how they perceive the world to be. If I don't get my right, if I don't get what I need, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to lash out. I'm supposed to become aggressive. We've been through counseling with the child, saying, what do you do if somebody calls you a name? If somebody tries to hurt you, what do? You call an adult. You tell an adult about it. No, I just have to lash the person, or I just have to kill that person. So domestic violence was seen as a very, very big issue, and it's sad to say that it's across culture. It's across every, it doesn't matter if you're Muslim, you're Christian, you're Jewish, or you're part of any other culture. So domestic violence is across the board. It's not particular to any ethnicity or group. Another third part was, yes, the socioeconomic status. We had students, and these students were particularly from the African American ethnicity, that were kind of harassing students into saying, they thought it was something very small, saying something like, my shoes cost more than your mother's car, or they thought it was something very, very small to say, but it was something more meaningful to the person who it was said to, and that was the socioeconomic status, or kind of a wealth issue, or a materialistic issue was becoming a big challenge. I had 4 students who did not want to come to school just because of that sort of a gang saying to them that the wealth is more important. And when we went back and we saw who are those students who are continuously saying those kinds of things, it went back to domestic violence. Those students were all coming from broken families. They had issues going on in their family, but they still wanted a superior status amongst other students, and that is something. I mean, that shoe was not more than the mother's car, but still, that was kind of what he was coming with, and just made us very, very sad, but it also made us feel very responsible for what each child was saying. And since our class size is not more than 16 in a classroom, we were able to, you know, kind of talk to the teacher, talk to the parent, talk to the student, and kind of bring a bridge in a gap between what's going on, having a daily report, having other kinds of things that could help us understand from our perspective, from the parents' perspective, and from the students' perspective, what we can do together to help eliminate those kinds of things. TV and video games was another one. I actually had a kindergartner say, you know, different kinds of things. He used to say, "Buy suckers," or, you know, "Buy Lou." He used to make different kinds of, you know, bodily, using body language to show, you know, you're a loser. And sometimes the other person could not even understand what's going on. And since, you know, the teacher was there, she was able to identify that this is something that's going on. And he, even to the extent, he said, "I am a serial killer, and that's what I want to do, you know, and I want to kill you." So, and when we went back and we found out what's going on, it was from TV and from video games. That's what he was kind of learning, is sitting with his mother watching adult movies or adult-rated TV serials, or he was playing video games where he was, you know, internalizing those kinds of behaviors. And he thought that was something very normal to do, and that's what everybody learns at home or when he has free time and his mother's not watching. Teachers, we had 2 teachers last year who were bullying students inside the classroom. One of them even hit a 6th grader, and so when she did that, she said, "Either you choose me or the student." And I said, "I'm going to choose my student. That has nothing to do. Your job is your responsibility." Through the state of Delaware, through any other states, any kind of abuse, any kind of child abuse is considered against the law, and you can't do that to a student inside our school. But we had no idea that was going on. I mean, when she lashed out in front of everybody like that, the student said, you know, she was always very quiet about that particular teacher. She never ever told us that harassment or that bullying was always going on since she was in school. That English teacher was continuously harassing her, telling her things about her family, telling her, you know, what kinds of things she does at home, or using small things, using her family, using the child's family and other kinds of things to harass the 6th grader, and eventually lashing out at her for not doing a homework. I mean, not doing homework has, you know, other causes. We need to find out what those causes are. We can't just lash out at a child saying, you know, you're not doing your homework. So that was one of it. Parents was another case of bullying, particularly in the Indian and the Pakistani, and that's where I am originally from as well, and I can attest to that fact that goes on. That's part of a culture. It's not religion, but it's part of culture that we force our children, you have to become a doctor or an engineer or a professional. You don't have to become a teacher. That's nothing good. You won't earn money out of it. But continuously telling a child, you have to, if you get 1 point less, that's a disaster. You have to get 100% all the time. And that was a continuous harassment that was going on to our Pakistani and Indian students, and there were many cases reported like that they wanted the child to always be. Right now I have a child whose parent is forcing us, there are 2 actually, who are telling us, you know, my child does not have to sit in 2nd grade. You have to test him for the 3rd grade, and the child is only 7 years old, you know, and one of them is 6.5. We can't do that to the child, you know. It's socially and mentally the child is, maybe intellectually the child has developed that much, but you know, I did go ahead and I did take the test, you know, but the child was writing 7 backwards. You know, how can I expect the child to be in 3rd grade? Parents don't understand that, and it's really putting the students at risk. Child cannot perform, the child cannot be confident in what he or she is doing, and they lack security, and they become so insecure that they just either start shutting down or they start lashing out at others, and there's that continuous cycle that goes on and on and on. Okay. Does anybody have any questions so far? Anything?
I'm trying
to put that back on. Do we have to turn this on too? So how did we address these problems? First of all is religion. Islam comes from the word salama, that means somebody who submits to the will of God. And somebody who submits to the will of God is, we think, that was part of Judaism, Christianity, and all major religions in the world, to submit to the will of God. And we think all prophets are also Muslims because they all submitted to the will of God. And it comes from the other root meaning of that of the word salama is also peace. And peace, we said, as in all religions, do think of yourself as if you're doing the same thing for your brother. Like something for yourself as if it's the same thing you like for your brother. Give him something that you like. So kind of going back to the religion, going back to our holy scripture, Quran. What are the things that our prophets have been saying? What has Jesus or Moses or Muhammad, what have they been telling us to do? How are we supposed to be kind to our neighbors, or how are we supposed to be in a community or be in a society? What kinds of rights do we have on others, and what rights do they have upon us? So going back to those basics, and that we implemented it every day. Every day we had principles that we taught them about our religion that were key and that were linked back to character building. So that's something we really focused on. We this year we introduced bucket filling. Bucket filling, we have a bucket in every classroom, and in higher grades we have a bucket for each child. And what bucket filling is, it's an idea where symbolically we ask children to do good deeds, to do good acts of kindness towards each other, and you can start filling your bucket in. And you can not only fill your bucket in, but you can also fill your peers' bucket in, And there's a concept of putting a lid on top of your bucket so that nobody else takes your good acts away. And similarly, you can help somebody else close their lid too, just to reassure that they can be part of that good act. So we've kind of labeled each of our aisles or our hallways, saying, this is the caring street, or this is the responsibility street. And we've kind of developed those areas. That street has responsibility. So students, every week they develop something. They create something. They're creative. They do their artwork based upon what kinds of things they did about responsibility, or what kinds of things they did about compassion or caring. And then they just, every week it gets changed. They put their own artwork up, saying this is something I did. This is my perception of how we need to be kind, or my perception of being compassionate. And we had a lot of involvement through our counselors and psychologists. And being a private school is very hard to support counselors or to support psychologists because everything costs money these days. We can't, sad to say, we can't have people, start volunteering as specialists. But we thought this was good, especially because we had domestic violence issues, and we had issues with broken families, and those were the children who were becoming so aggressive. We had focus groups with them, based on anger management. What kinds of things can you do? So we paired up, children from elementary to middle school together. What kinds of experiences do you go through? What kinds of things do you do together? And why do you think like you're thinking? Why do you want to kill? Or why do you want to be that aggressive? Why do you want to hit and lash out instead of telling an adult? So those things we did not only with the students, we also called in parents, If there were broken families, we took the parent, the father separate and the mother separate, and we spoke to them about it at great length. We had the counselors sit with them and talk to them. What's going on. Your child's interest is the most important to us, and that learning of that child is being affected by what's going on or what he or she is looking at inside the house, or what kinds of relationships he or she is looking at. So that really helped us. Going back to character building, we also started developing videos, and I'll show you one video that our third graders have made. So it was on name calling. So whenever we face a major issue, we try to develop a video, and we involve the students in it, and we try to help them understand that situation and understand how to deal with that situation as well. And I will show that to you very quickly. This is the bucket filling. I mean, there are many resources online. There are storybooks on bucket filling. You can always look at that resource. It's great, and it's helping us a lot in providing. Sorry, it's turned around. So we usually give that. I mean, we're starting this at a pre-K level, introducing things to them. Just yesterday, I asked the teacher to, show them different kinds of acts of kindness, how to do things, because sometimes children don't know how to behave, or children don't know how to do that act of kindness. So showing it to them was very, very important. And then we give this to them, kind of, encouraging them to help each other do those acts of kindness. This is one of the videos that was made on name calling. Okay.
Has anyone ever called you a name you didn't like? What did you do about it? Did you ever get so mad that you wanted to call someone else a name? Did you? One day in school, Zakir was sharpening his pencil when the pencil got stuck in the sharpener and broke. Zakir was upset because he had just gotten the pencil from the last Eid festival, and it had Eid Mubarak written all over it. But what made things worse was what Munia said to him.
It's just a pencil, what crybaby.
And then at recess, Zakir was playing dodgeball. Suddenly the ball hit his legs and knocked him over.
Loser! Loser! Loser!
That was it. When Munia called Zakir a baby, he felt hurt. But when everyone called him loser, he got mad. What a mess. All from name calling. See how calling someone names can make them feel hurt and embarrassed and angry? And then came Nisan.
I think we should go to Zakir and ask him for forgiveness. Don't you know that it's haram to call each other names? It's in the Quran. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
ويل لكل همزة لمزة الذي جمع مالا وعدده يحسب أن ماله أخلده كلا لينبذن في الحطمة وما أدراك ما الحطمة نار الله الموقدة التي تطلع على الأفئدة إنها عليهم مؤصدة في عمد ممددة.
There are two sins in this surah that Allah hates. They're called Hutana and Lumaza. Allah hates these two sins, so you should definitely not do them. Then what are you waiting for? Brother Zakir, I'm sorry for calling you names. I'm also sorry. I'm also sorry, Brother Zakir. I'm also sorry, Brother Zakir. Please forgive us all. It's okay. Well, may Allah forgive you all. Allah khairan.
I can stop it.
I said it in the front.
Okay. How do we go back? And that's all I have. So I wanted to have more of a discussion after this, you know, what you guys are thinking, or if you have any questions for me.
How many students did you say were in the school?
150. Yeah.
So do you get like a lot of individualized instruction with your students?
We do, yeah. Since, yeah, most of our class sizes are maximum of 16, we do.
Do you like focus like the instruction a lot on like religious practices?
Well, we have the core academics every day, and then we have the religious part every day as well. So we have the Arabic language that is important for us to understand our Holy Scripture, Quran. So we do that. Then they have the Quran where they understand the Holy Scripture itself, and then we have the principles that I was telling you about that goes back to character building, or goes back to who we are and what we need to do and what our rights are and what others' rights are upon us. So that's every day. So we do everything every day.
How do you integrate like the character into like the regular classroom setting? Like if you're like teaching math or science, how would you integrate like character building into that?
Into that, the thing is that most of our religion also talks about science. So we have like these were the ayahs of the Quran, the verses of the Quran that were being recited right now, and it had about character. This one is don't be a mocker, or don't have facial expressions. And we have a lot of science inside that as well, linking different things to who we are and how we can recognize the signs of God and how we can help each other develop those things. So so we do that in everything. So it's like an integration. They don't feel that going into the principles class or going into the Arabic class or the Quran class is when we know religion. They know religion even in science and social studies. Social studies is all about communities, all about states, regions, learning our history, not repeating it again. So it's all, I feel that a lot of social studies is basically we're teaching them the principles of any religion and how to deal with each other. It's all interaction. So, and English, of course, has a lot of literacy that's built around social studies and science and math as well. So, when we teach fractions, or when we teach other kinds of concepts, multiplication or division, we do tell them why God has given us the ability to reproduce. Those kinds of things. Why it's good for humanity, or why So it's why our fingers are not all the same. Why God could have created all of them same. Why aren't they same? So we kind of link everything back to who we are as human beings and what our values are.
Very cool.
Our school is having trouble with community involvement. Do you have community and PTA, and do you do field trips? Do you bring in guest speakers?
We do a lot of that. We do a lot of that. We have, as part of our school this year, we've mandated 50 hours of volunteer hours by each parent per academic year. So that's bringing in a lot of either you do that or you pay us $500 at the end of the academic year. So we bill them every year, every month for $500. And if they complete their 50 academic volunteer hours, then that $500 is waived off. So that brings in a lot of parental involvement, And field trips, we have a lot of field trips. We do at least one or two every trimester. Take them out, bring speakers in, bring other kinds of people in for sensitivity training as well. We do that a lot for our staff also. Bringing in key people from different cultural groups, or bringing in people from domestic violence coalitions, or other resources or other social services, people, bringing them in so we understand what's going on with the families and how we can help as a resource or as a school for those parents, bridging that gap.
And this school's in Delaware, so you're visiting?
Yes. I'm an Eastern alum, but Yeah, graduated 2005. Yeah. The sad thing about Delaware is that it has a very low income property tax, and of course property tax funds most of the public schools, so that's why we have, I mean, the academics, and even looking at the state standards, they're very, very low. I mean, something that I went to school in Pakistan, and I did that in 8th grade. Children here are doing it in 12th grade, and it's just very, very sad for me to see those kinds of things and standards coming down, or it's just sad. You know, why do we think our children are less intelligent than we were? They're more intelligent. They have so much technology. Who could do all of the things that they are doing, you know, at their fingertips? They have so much information, so much knowledge at their fingertips. It's just amazing. Go ahead.
For the bucket,
Mm-hmm.
for the film
Filling, yeah.
what are some like websites that we can visit?
The best thing is Google it, because it has many resources. Just Google the bucket filling, you know, philosophy and bucket filling. You can also look at something called character something, and I've forgotten the name for it, but I can. No, it has like, it uses different animals for different kinds of things, and I've forgotten the name for it. It has something character to do with it, but like the lion represents responsibility, giraffe represents fairness, and that's a great program as well. I've been through their training. It's a very nice program as well. So, I mean, bucket filling. The only thing that I liked about it, it has storybooks that children could actually read. So we give them the storybooks, we give them the resources to, you know, kind of read on your own or read as a group together at story time, and it's developed for all age levels. So that kinds of, you know, helps students understand for themselves what's going on.
Yeah, I was curious about that too. Like, what are you actually putting in the buckets? Are you
In the buckets, we create our own things, like, you know, one class is creating stars, or, you know, other kinds of just things to fill them in. Okay, this is something I did, or they're writing notes as well. You know, this is something I did. You know, I want to put this in Ahmad's bucket. This is what I did with you know, this friend of mine. This is what I want to do to help him, you know, fill up his bucket as well. So they're doing a lot of self-reflection as well. You know, thinking about, you know, what they're supposed to do before they actually do it. Especially in the playground or in the lunchroom, and, you know, things, or in the restroom, where, you know, sometimes we don't care about things. We want what's good for us, and so those are things that they're working on. But it's
teachers not reading them aloud?
teachers do read them aloud. There's storybooks that go on that are part of that as well. Yeah, they do. We have those storybooks, and they read that too. And they're available on all stores, Barnes and Nobles, Borders, and other places. Yeah. Go ahead.
So it seems like this just really kind of, for you, you must feel like you're in a whirlwind. I mean, this was just like a year ago.
Yes.
You were going to homeschool your daughter, and now you're running a school with 150 kids in it.
Yes.
I mean, what a positive problem to have.
I know, and we didn't realize that there are so many Muslims
Such
who
a
want to go to
need.
this school, and we do have non-Muslims as well. So
That's what I was going to ask.
yeah, we do take in non-Muslims as well, because, you know, part of the non-discrimination policy. Yeah.
So are
we
a
do
lot of
tell
your
them.
children non-Muslim, or are
No,
most of
there are
them-
just a few. Yeah, just a few, and we do tell them that, you know, we integrate our religion in everything, like science, math, social studies, and it's everywhere. So if they're
expected
fine
to
with
kind
that, yeah, kind of understand, because the general understanding is Islam is not something very different from Christianity. The only difference is that we don't believe in Jesus being Son of God. We believe him as a messenger of God, and we believe in all the teachings that he had. If we don't believe in his teachings, we don't believe in the teachings of Moses, we can be followers of Islam. So we feel that is core of every religion, you know, stealing, or, you know, having core values. That's part of every religion. So that's something we explain to them before they come in, and, you know, kind of what to expect.
Do you have any pictures of your school?
Picture, I don't know, do we have internet access here?
Yeah,
We do? we introduced uniforms for our students, for our teachers this year as well. So that was kind of very different. They feel odd about it. Okay, just write the name. So,
So like even just finding a building and a place and
it was, I don't know, it was God who did everything, really. I mean, we have no power over what happens. And that the place is like 2 minutes from my house. It was Chrysler closed down. Chrysler was the biggest car company there. It closed down. The union had their buildings there. They had built a family institute. And it was vacant for so many years. And we asked them, we negotiated, they agreed, and we went from there. So it was amazing how things happened. And
so you have room to grow?
yes, they have a lot of, I mean, it's we have 4 acres at the back that's really vacant. We use that as a field. And they have 3 big buildings. We are hosting ours in the 8,000 square foot building, but they have similar buildings there, and there are 2 of them. So it's you know, if you have the right intention, if you have good intention to do something, everything becomes possible. That's how I feel. You know, whenever I was doing my doctorate, I always used to pray that make me do something that, you know, that will help our community. You know, Eastern has given me a lot. I mean, I was always on scholarship here. So, you know, I always want to give back, and I always want to give back to wherever I studied, because US did a lot to me, and I want to give back to the community as well. And so, you know, just having good intention always helps.
So your daughter is a first grader?
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead.
Do you have any international students, or are they mostly like the children?
Most of our Arabs are international students. Since they come in, their parents are on F1 status.
Do you instruct them in English then, or?
We do instruct them in English, yes, but we have translators. So when it's time for math, we do request, you know, our translators or Arabic teachers to come in and, you know, kind of work with that child one-on-one to help with the vocabulary. And they score 100% if it's translated to them.
That must be kind of tough.
It's extremely tough. We have Title I, same thing. We have to have the translator there with the Title I person too. I mean, so this 6th and 7th graders, their reading level is first grader or a kindergarten level reading for English. So we can't expect them to understand everything in 6th grade, but we have to have them in on-level instruction. So.
Do you use like ELL strategies?
We do, yes, we do. And we use a lot of technology. I mean, all of our books are online as well. We use Ngrade. All the homework is always posted on the calendar every single day. We post grades the same day. We communicate with the parents every day, sending them messages. So it's kind of parental involvement, I feel, is the bridge to everything. If the parent is involved, the parent continues to work with us, the child can change tremendously. I mean, we've seen that change happen in children. But when the parent does not want to work, there's nothing we can really do about it, you know. Really, it's just sad to say how sometimes parents, you know, lose their children, and they just don't care. It's just sad. It's very sad. I mean, it's not just students. It's bullying also goes on to us as teachers and as administrators. Just 2 days ago, I had a very big harassment case where somebody tried to open, you know, a parent withdrew her child, and I said, you know, you have the right, you know, I respect your decision, you may withdraw your child. And when she withdrew the child, she came back, she started screaming, saying, you know, you guys don't understand English, and you guys have opened up a school and you don't know how to speak in English. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, but that can't go on here. I want my child's records. I'm sorry, there's a procedure to it. This other school requests the information, I send everything I have. And she opened the student file and she said, give me my child's file. I'm sorry, we can't do that. So it was like kind of, she was going to hit me. So it was, things happen like that. I mean, we can, it's a sad reality, but those things are still very much internalized in every person's mind. You know, sometimes they don't accept women as in leadership positions. You know, you can't run a school because you're a woman. I'm sorry, my religion has nothing to do with that. You know, Prophet Muhammad's first wife, she was the owner of a massive business going on from Syria to Saudi Arabia to all different kinds of countries. What do you expect? You know, that's culture, that what I was telling you about. The different ethnicities are coming in with different kinds of cultures that they have, and they try to impose those things on you, you know. And then she started, you know, their parents started saying, this is United States, you can't do all of those things. And I'm like, United States, but what about us as human beings? We are human beings first before any other law hits us, you know. What is my right upon you, or what is your right upon me? We can't be that aggressive, or we can't harass anybody, you know. That's out of the realm of being a human. So those things exist. They are everywhere. It doesn't matter. It's across cultures. It's everywhere. It's in my country. It's here. It's everywhere. It's just sad to say, but we just have to. The reality is we have to face it. We have to help each other bridge the gap, and, you know, kind of solve our situation, solve our problems out, instead of blaming somebody else for what's going on. Anybody else has any other questions? You have any questions? No?
Well, thank you for visiting.
Thank you. Thank you for coming and listening. If you ever come to Delaware, stop by.